Okay, so you can see 4-term factorization is something you learn in set 1. So a lot of set 1 struggle in this, and then they don't learn it the right way. Meaning to say that if you don't learn it the right way, in set 2, you struggle again. And then you bring forward to set 3, and then to set 4. And this is something you're going to see in set 1, set 2, set 3, set 4. You cannot escape from it. Okay? So whatever we are learning today is the fundamentals of algebra. Okay, so now with 4-term factorization, you'll need a lot of colors. So if you don't have the same color as me, let's say I'm using red, you don't have red, then you can find something similar. If let's say I'm using red, you can replace with pink or purple. Up to you guys. All right? Clear? If let's say I'm using green and you don't have green, then you can use like blue or something similar. You just need to take note that Miss Lynn's red is your purple, or Miss Lynn's green is your blue, something like that. All right, but you must follow the whole color coding. Okay, so when it comes to 4-term factorization, right? 4 terms means I can see 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see? 1 term, 2 term, 3 term, 4 terms. Now, doesn't mean that it's always literally 4 terms. Why do I say that? Can you see over here? It's 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms only, right? But it's a 4-term way of factorization method. To factorize means it's a 4-term factorization method. So you look at here, it's also the same thing. 1 term, 2 term, 3 terms only. Okay? So later I'll explain to you guys on how to do it. Now here, can you see here is 1 term, 2 terms. Can you see that? It's not 4 terms. It's only 1 term and 2 terms. However, they have something in common. Can you see? This first term have p minus 2. This second term also have p minus 2. Okay? And that's when I know, oh, if the first term and the second term has something in common, I can use the 4-term factorization method. Okay. So this is the whole general idea. Now, 4-term factorization, we always want to find our couple. It's like imagine you have 4 people going out. You want to find a couple and a couple to group them together. But in order to have couples grouping them together, they must have something in common. If they have nothing in common, would they be a couple? Would they be grouped together? No, right? You must have something to be in common in order to be grouped together. Then we'll factorize out the couple, then we'll copy paste, and then we'll factorize. So I explain to you all what are all these steps in a moment. So let's start with something very, very basic, like question number 1. Okay, so this is example number 1. Usually how I see it is, I will look at here first. 1, 2. I will group these 2 together, and I'll group these 2 together. Then I ask myself, is there anything in common between these 2 people, these 2 terms? Is there anything in common? Have. Okay, means potentially I can put them together. Then I ask myself, is there anything common between these 2? Also have. Then I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm in a good spot to group them together, right? So what happens if there's nothing in common? You can rearrange. Meaning I'll put this and this together. And I'll put this and this together. Clear so far? You can rearrange. Later, then we'll do that. So for now, it's just something very simple. We'll group them together. So take a highlighter and highlight out. So I'll call this as 1 term. Okay? I call it as my so-called first couple. First couple. And this change color. This will be my second term. I'll call this as my second couple. Second couple. Okay? And my first couple and my second couple. Okie dokie. So can you see I'm using red? So if I'm using red, I'm going to do it in red. All right. So now everybody pens down. No one is supposed to be writing anything, and listen carefully. So Eclesiastes, tell us what is common between the ones in red. Okay, so what can I take out? Yeah, so what do I write? Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. I got it right in red. So I take out 2p and then open bracket. And what's inside now? Yes. So what I usually do is either I say take out, or the proper way is to say factorize out the 2p. Clear so far? Factorize out the 2p. All right, next. Hui Xian. Okay, so she said take out -5. This is where I want to correct you guys already. I won't want to touch the sign yet. Meaning to say, just now she said -5, right? This is called the sign, right or not? Sign always do later. Understand? So let's focus on the number only, the number and alphabet, like what is common, what can you factorize out? Okay, 5. And then?
Open bracket.
Yeah.
-4.
Okay.
Plus Q.
Okay. Now, listen very, very carefully, everybody. Why I say the sign later? Because a lot of students always get confused with the sign. Now, the sign, do it later because the key thing is I want to make sure that these two here are the same. Clear so far? For example, if let's say just now, Hui Xian say take out the -5, let's say lah, okay? Remember she said take out -5, correct? If she said take out -5, means here will be what already? Because you need to get -20, right? If I take out -5, what am I left with? Okay, +4. So -5 times +4, does it give me -20? Yes, right? Then if I take out -5 from a +5q, what am I left with?
-Q.
-Q. So let me ask you, is q minus 4 the same as 4 minus q? No. Why no? This q is what sign? This q is a positive. And this q is a negative. Very good. And this 4 is a negative. And this 4 is a positive. Do you realize the sign is not the same? And then later you all will be confused. You understand? So now you understand why I do the sign later. So all these have reason. Okay? So I'll do the sign later. Because when I do the sign later, I can adjust accordingly to match the one in blue. Clear so far? So right now, I know that die must be the same, right? If it's the same, that means that this 4 needs to be negative. Correct? Because here is -4. So here must be negative. And here is what? Positive or negative q? Positive q. That means that this q must also be positive. Yes. So now, always remember the sign do later because why? We need to check back. Check back with who? Check back with this person. Clear so far? So, ask yourself, what 5 times -4 will give me -20? Positive or -5?
Positive.
Positive. So +5 times -4, does it give me -20? Yes, correct. Check again. +5 with positive q, does it give me +5q? Yes, then you know you're on the right track. So this is how you do four-term factorization. You must always check with your previous step. So it's not because you all make careless mistake, This has nothing to do with careless mistake. This is got to do with whether you know your concepts. Understand? So I won't call this as careless mistake if you get your plus or your minus wrong. It means that you don't know how to check back. So this is the kind of mistake students make. So right now you're thinking, Miss Lee, why you talk so much about this? It's because it's really very important. Algebra, you all always make mistake because of plus and minus, right? So I don't want anybody here to make that mistake because no one is allowed to make the plus or minus mistake if you're already learning the right way. So this is called learning the right way. You need to understand the concepts. Clear so far? So it's something new for all three of you all because all three of you are my new student. So we'll slowly work on that. Okay? It's something different from how your school teacher teach you or your other tuition teacher teach you, but we'll slowly learn. Got it? We'll slowly learn on all this right way of doing. Then like this, you'll never ever make mistake. You realize that, oh my God, algebra is so easy. I can easily get full marks for it. Because the moment you get full marks for algebra or you do well for algebra, pass is no problem already. Okay? All right. So now you all can copy all this into your notes. Because you see, here is the same. This is one term. This is one rate term, right? One term. And here is one whole term, including the positive 5. So ask yourself, the red and the blue, what is common? The common is Q minus 4 is common. Q minus 4 is common and Q minus 4 is common. So you put the common in the first bracket. Clear so far? So you put the common in the first bracket, which is Q minus 4. Now, after we factorize out Q minus 4 from the red, what am I left with? I factorize out Q minus 4 from the red. What am I left with?
2p and 5.
2p, very good. So 2p, I'm left with 2p. Put in here, right? Then over here, I take out factorize out a Q minus 4. What am I left with? Positive 5, not just 5, but positive 5. Here. The end. That's it. Now copy everything onto your notes. Okay, so right now we're done with example 1. I want to move on to the next one, which is example 2. Okay, so example 2 is the same thing. We need to find our couple first, right? So let's see. I want to group these two together first. So if I put these two together, I want to put these two together. If I put these two together, do they have anything in common? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, right? Now the same thing. If I put these two together, do they have anything in common? Yes. Okay, so Ashley, do the one in red. Yeah. Yeah. Close bracket? Cannot. Because how many terms do you see here? How many terms do you all see here? So you just put W like that, close bracket is wrong. Because how many terms do you see here? 3 terms? No. 2 terms. 1 term, 2 term. If you see 2 terms, means in your bracket, you must also have 2 terms. So this is not right. There's only how many terms in a bracket here? Only 1, so it's not right. Anybody want to try? What should it be inside the bracket? W squared is correct, but what should be in the bracket?
W minus 1.
Yes, W minus 1. Can you explain how come there's a minus 1? Why isn't it not just W?
Because like the negative 1 minus times W squared, you have to get negative W squared.
Because if I factorize out this W squared, it doesn't disappear. It actually becomes a... No. This is like W squared divided by W squared. What? W squared divided by W squared gives me 1. It doesn't give me 0. It doesn't disappear. That's why there's a 1 here. So please take note. This is a common error made by students. Got it? Okay. So Ashley again, try the one in blue.
Z square.
Yes, very good. Did she start with the sign first? Yes or no? No, because remember just now I told you all, this sign we will what? Do later. Okay? So she started with z squared. Very good. So you remembered z squared followed by? Yeah.
W plus 1.
Okay. So right now, guys, why I say the sign do later, are you all ready to listen? Look here. Okay, see, this is a positive or negative W. Positive W. And here is a negative W. So what happens? So you know what I will do or not, guys? You know what I will do? I tell you a little trick now, because now you are on example 2 already. For me, I would copy, paste. Understand? Why? Because remember I told you, these two must be the same. Understand? Okay? Because they must be the same, so I can copy, paste. So I just literally put W minus 1. Right? Then remember just now, what other technique I teach you after we copy paste? I told you how to do a very good check back. I told you how to do a check back. So let's do a check back together. I want a minus WZ square, correct? So if I want a minus WZ square, means what sign should it be here? Okay, so let's see. Negative Z square times positive W. Does it give me negative WZ square? Yes, right? Then now let's check again. Negative Z square times negative 1. Does it give me positive Z square? Yeah, so am I on the right track? Am I doing it correctly already? Yes. The end. Now you all can copy before we move on. So right now, after we have done all this check back and copy paste, what is the next step we can do already? Anybody remember? What's the next step we can do?
Write down the common term.
Very good. So Eclesiastes, what is the common term? W minus 1. Eclesiastes, continue again. What shall I write next? Yes. Now, guys, listen very carefully. So Eclesiastes, because you didn't join the previous lesson, but both of them did. Okay, so listen to what they're going to say. So right now, guys, take note. If let's say this is a 3-mark question, if you stop here, you only get 2 out of 3 marks. Does anybody know why? Eclesiastes, if you know, you can try also. Yes? Factorize who? Sorry?
Square minus.
Very good. So actually say that we need to factorize, not expand. Factorize. W square minus Z square to get your 1 more mark. To get your full marks. Understand? So if you stop here in the exam, you only get 2 marks. So imagine if let's say your sign wrongly, 0. And that's how some students fail. It's very extreme. Get it? So you wonder, hey, how come I cannot get my full 3 marks? I did correctly exactly what Miss Lin said. Because there is one more. This person is the one that caused you to lose your 1 mark if you don't factorize out. So why Ashley say that we need to factorize W square minus Z square? Anybody remember? What does this remind you of? That we just learned the right term for it. Because what is W square minus Z square? We learn the right term. It's in your notes. What's the right term that I teach you guys?
Algebraic identity.
Very good. It's actually our algebraic identity. Which one? First, second, third. Which one? Yes, it's my third algebraic identity. So what does my third algebraic identity says that I told you guys to memorize? Bracket A plus B. Uh-huh. 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 Yes. So this is our third algebraic identity. We still have our first and second, right? But it's not. It's our third algebraic identity. The left-hand side or the right-hand side? Right-hand side. So if you factorize out, the answer should be this. Correct? A little bit lost? Okay, then you need a lesson on algebraic identity. It's very important. They already had it already. Okay? So, right now, we'll go here, yeah? Equal to. Now, equal to, what is this whole thing? So, what is it now? What should I write? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. 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 Yes. And this will now give you 3 out of 3. Clear so far? So now you understand the importance of algebraic identity that I spent so much time to go through. So you can see now it's adding on already. Adding on to whatever you have been learning. Got it? Okay, now number 3, I want you all to take out a red pen and put a star. Now, why do I say that number 3 is very tricky? Because not many people or not many students can see it as an 4-term factorization. Because they'll see it as, oh, 1, 2, 3. Understand so far? But what I'm trying to tell you is that why do I see it as 4-term factorization? Because this is considered as one couple. Got it? And next is considered as the second couple right here. Now, I'm not sure anyone here knows, but this is like a x squared. And how do you break down a x squared? How do you get x squared? X squared is actually, yes, x times x. Okay? If you do not know, please write it down to take note of it. So I'm going to apply the same. So this whole thing is my x, correct? So because Ashley already answered, I want Acrisius to answer now. So what I'm going to do right now is, I'm going to factorize out the 6h plus 15k. What can I take out? Or what can I factorize out? We're doing the one in red. It's very simple. It's whatever we've been doing for number 1 and number 2. Okay, then just now Ashley said that x squared is x times x, right? So I want Acrisius to apply what Ashley said to this now. What should I write as? I'll start off the 1. I'll start with negative first, followed by what? Bracket, yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Got it so far? Now, you guys can copy before I move on to the next part. So literally copy. Don't forget to copy. X squared is equal to x times x. Very important. So follow the same color coding and make sure you copy it correctly. Once you're ready, put down your pen and then I can move on. Okay, so right now, guys, same thing. Can you see that this is one term? And this is one term, right? The first term and second term. Is there anything in common? Have or don't have? Yes or no? Yes. And what is in common? Yes. So remember I told you guys the bracket technique. So it'll be 2h plus 5k, correct? So this is common, and common, right or not? So if these two are common, but usually I don't do like that, right? If common behind, then that one I'll take common behind. Even though these two are the same, I'd rather pick the one on the right-hand side. Okay? So they're common. So what am I left with now? What should I write in this bracket? Yeah. No, I won't do that. Yes, open bracket. Yes, 2h plus 5k. However, can you see here there is round bracket and round bracket? Can I still use round bracket for here? No, I must use square bracket. Square bracket. Understand so far? So if you don't put a round bracket here, you're going to make a mistake. Do y'all know why? Because the negative must. What about this negative? With that bracket that we just learned. What did I teach you guys that day? Rainbow method. Negative must rainbow with who? 2h. And the negative must rainbow with 5k. Understand? Draw the rainbow, then you have more awareness because we want to open up the bracket. All right. So with that, what am I left with? Yeah. Close bracket then. There's no more square bracket. Why? Because we are opening up the bracket already. Means the bracket disappears. Okay? So what am I left with, Atricious? Yes. And then? That's it. So can you imagine if just now you didn't put a negative, you'll write as 3 minus 2h plus 5k. Right? And is it plus 5k? It's not. It's negative 5k. So can you see these are all the right techniques you need to learn? If you learn all these right techniques, you won't put plus anymore. You put negative. So it's not careless mistake. This is not called careless mistake. This means that you don't understand the concept of brackets. You don't understand the concept of negative. You don't understand the concept of opening up the bracket. Okay? All right, now you okay? Copy everything on the screen before we move on to the next few questions. Okay, now that you are done, we'll move on to number 4. Okay, so number 4. For me, I would want to group these two together. Do you know why? Why do I want to put these two together and these two together? Even though x squared minus y squared have nothing in common, I'll still put them together. Why? How come? Why do I want to put x squared minus y squared together even though they have nothing in common?
like a square minus b square.
Hmm?
Because it is that a square minus b square.
Very good. Because it's like the a square minus b square, which is the which one? The third. Third what? Yes, third algebraic identity. So by now, Eclesiastes, you know what's the third algebraic identity already, right? So tell us, what's the third algebraic identity formula? Bracket? Mm-hmm. Huh? No, 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 no. No, no, no. After close bracket, what do you write? Mm-mm. Not minus. I need something here. Hmm? No, that's not what we said just now. What's the third algebraic identity? It's in your notes. Just read out from your notes. If you actually copy it. Something is missing. No, something is missing after the close bracket. Yes, repeat again. So this x square minus y square looks like the one on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? Left-hand side or right-hand side, Eclesiastes? Hmm? The what? Left-hand side or right-hand side? X square minus y square. Left-hand side or right-hand side? Which one has square? Left-hand side or right-hand side? No, left-hand side has no square. No. Left-hand side is? Got any square or not? X square minus y square. Left-hand side or right-hand side? Right-hand side. So, I'm going from left-hand side to right-hand side or right-hand side to left-hand side? Left to right or right to left? Where am I going? From left to right or right to left? Right to left. So you must listen, Eclesiastes, whatever we are learning. So right now, Eclesiastes, back to you again. Apply this technique and tell us, x squared minus y squared will now become? You forget something. Yes, open bracket.
X plus y.
Yeah.
Close bracket. Open bracket. X minus y.
Yes, there you go. Okay, next, Hui Xian, I want you to do the one in blue.
Open bracket.
What? No.
Two.
Huh?
Three.
Yes, 3. Then?
Open bracket.
Yes.
5.
Mm-hmm.
9.
Then followed by? So what is here? Remember what did I say just now?
Positive sign.
What did I say just now about here?
Do the sign later.
Sign, do later. Okay, so how do I get a positive 3y? So what sign should it be here?
Positive.
Positive. Let's check. Positive 3 times y, does it give me positive 3y?
Yes.
Then positive 3 times negative x, does it give me negative 3x? Yes or no? Yes, Okay, guys, I have an issue. Because what's the issue? Remember I told you that they must be the same, right? Here must be the same with somebody here, correct or not? But there's a few problems. What are the few problems? Over here, what alphabet comes first for the one in red? X. But over here, what comes first? Y. So this is the issue right here. Why? Because X doesn't come first. So what do I have to do? I have to rearrange. Understand? So I'm doing a long-winded way to rearrange. But once you become professional, you can skip the next step. But for now, I do not want you guys to skip the next step. I want you all to do step by step. Until one day you're very, very good at algebra, you can just skip it. Got it? Okay, now copy everything you see on the screen before we move on to the pink one. Okay, now pay full attention on how to do the rearrange. So remember just now I say, if you look at the red one, right? Usually I don't touch the one in red. Understand? I only touch the one behind. Clear so far? So don't be mixed up. Always remember, Miss Lee say, don't touch here, touch here. Understand? Because if you touch here, there'll be a negative here. It'll be very confusing. I won't want to do that. Clear so far? I only want to touch here. So right now here, this dictates who comes first, correct? They dictate that who comes first, X or Y? X, right? So here must also follow who comes first? X. However, this X is a positive X or negative X? Look carefully, Positive X or negative X? So it's negative X. I never change the sign. All I do is just to rearrange. So next, over there, is a positive Y or negative Y? Positive Y. So can you see? I didn't do anything. I didn't change the sign. I only rearrange. But now, I'm going to do something. Number one, I rearrange, right? Number two, I'm going to change sign, correct? Now, why do I want to change sign? Because here says positive X or negative X. Here says positive X or negative X. Positive X. But here says negative X. Do they match? They don't match. Clear so far? So same thing is to be X plus Y, X minus Y. Magic, listen carefully. I want a positive or negative X. I know that I want a positive X. So I just put from X, negative X will become a positive X. And a positive Y will now become a negative Y. So therefore, I know this positive 3 will become a negative 3. Okay? Don't believe? Always remember the check back method. So what is the check back method? Negative, check back, negative 3 times X will give me how much? Isn't it correct? Negative 3 times negative Y gives me positive? Positive? Positive 3Y. Isn't it correct? I know I'm on the right track. Check back. Clear so far? So this is how you always do a check back to make sure you're on the right track. Okay? Now y'all can copy everything you see on the screen before I move on to the next step. Okay, so now that everybody is done, we'll continue again. So can you see over here? This is one term, right? The same thing again. And this is the second term, right? So what is common? So we have two brackets, right? So what is common? Common always put first. So what is common?
-y.
Very good. X minus y. Someone else. So Ashley has already answered. The common is x minus y. Tell me what to put in here.
X plus y minus 3.
Yes. Because why? I factorize out this, right? This is common. Common. Common, right? Common, common put here. So what am I left with? X plus y, put in here. Minus 3, put in here. Finish. And that's the answer. Okay, once you're done copying, put down your pen. We'll move on to number 5 and number 6. Move on to number 5 and number 6. Hey, one student done. Waiting for 2 more. All right, now let's move on to number 5 and number 6. Last 2 already. So can you see 4-term factorization is actually not so simple like how you guys think? It's very complex. So if your teacher says it's a difficult paper, you expect this kind of 4-term factorization, which combines algebraic identity also. Okay? Clear? But then once you all do all this difficult algebra, right? You'll be very good, really. Okay? So let's start on the right track. Okay, so now this is the easiest. It looks very scary, like, oh my God, there are so many, right? But it's actually the easiest. Don't be fooled by it. Why? Because remember, I teach you guys before, identify one term and another term. So where is the first term? Apprecious, you start. Where's the first term?
The bracket P2, P minus 2,
Mm-hmm.
close bracket, and open bracket P plus 7.
Yes. Someone else, answer me. Where's the second term?
Open bracket P minus 2, close bracket, open bracket 2P plus 5, close bracket.
Yep. Now, anything common between these two terms? The red and the blue? Yes. What is common? This and this. So can I straight away start the bracket technique? Can, right? Bracket, bracket. Clear now. So what is common? P minus 2, put inside. Right? Now guys, your teacher can be very tricky. Your teacher can change it to minus. Understand? So regardless whether it's plus or minus, I want you all to learn the right way. So if I take out P minus 2, I'm left with P plus 7, right? So I want you all to learn the right way. Put bracket P plus 7, close bracket. Understand? Learn the right way. Followed by, what's next? Not open bracket. Be very careful.
Plus
Plus, yes. Plus, then,
open bracket
yeah.
2P plus.
Mm-hmm. Now, why do I say that if you don't put the plus, it means that you become like this, you know? Like this means what? If you don't have a sign in the middle, what does that mean? It's actually a multiply. This is upper rainbow, lower rainbow. Totally different from this. Okay? So be very careful. And then next, I told you before, right? Can this be round bracket? It must be square bracket, right? And after that, this one I want teachers to answer because the girls already did that just now. Right? What must we do now? What's the technique that they say?
Use algebraic identity.
No, not algebraic identity. Just now Hui Xian say something. A technique that we use. What's the technique that she mentioned? We say mention a technique that we use. So you say rainbow method, ah? Yes, it's the rainbow method. Rainbow who to who? Mm. Rainbow who to who? Refer to just now example. Rainbow who to who? If you actually copy the notes correctly.
Rainbow the plus
Yes, rainbow the plus to who?
to bracket 2p plus
No. Rainbow plus to who? Rainbow the plus to who?
the right side.
Look at your previous notes. If you actually draw the rainbow carefully. Rainbow who to who?
Rainbow the plus to 2p
Is that all?
and rainbow the plus to positive.
Yes, rainbow the plus to 2p and rainbow the plus to 5. And rainbow is called expansion or factorization, Hui Xin.
Expansion.
Yes. Okay, back to Eclipses again. So right now, I just copy paste. P minus 2. So right now, do I start with square bracket or round bracket? Square bracket or round bracket?
Square bracket.
Hui Xian, why is it not square bracket?
Because you already did the expansion. Right?
Yes, you already did the expansion. Very good. So,
So it's round bracket now.
yes, you use a round bracket now. So this is what we said just now. So please must take note all these little things. Okay? Ashley, continue. What do I write now?
3 plus 7.
Hold on. Eclipses, continue. After P plus 7.
P
Cannot start with P like that. Not right. What's after 7?
plus
Plus?
2
Yes. Followed by? Okay. So, Hui Xian, back to you again. What must I do now? That we learned in our previous lesson. The right term to say. What do we do now?
The algebraic identity.
There's no algebraic identity here. We learned the very, very first lesson. What do we do now?
Group the like term
Yes?
in the P plus 7 plus 2p plus 5.
So repeat again. What's the keyword that you say? What must we do now? Yes. Group like terms. There is another name for called group like terms. It's called what? Very good. Simplify. These two are the same. So these are the terminologies you need to know. Okay? So we say continue again. What am I left? What do I have now?
Open bracket.
Yep.
3p plus 12.
Yes. Now, guys, take note. In exam, if let's say you do up to here, it's a 3-mark question. You stop here, right? You only get 2 out of 3. Does anybody know why? How come I cannot get my full marks? Why is it that I only get 2 out of 3 marks? I do everything. Why? Expand? This question is called factorize. If you expand, then you no more bracket. Factorize means your answer must have brackets. So you cannot expand. But why did I lose 1 mark here? How come? Very good. Because I need to further factorize out. So to get one more mark plus one more mark, you need to further factorize 3p plus 12. Why? Because 3p plus 12, what about 3p plus 12?
There's a common factor.
There's a common factor. Very good. A common factor of who? Yes. Understand? So guys, it is a common factor of 3. That means that 3p plus 12, if I factorize out, will give me equal to 3 bracket p plus 4 close bracket. Clear so far? Now, take note again. Listen very carefully. Listen very carefully. If you write it as like that, p minus 2, 3, open bracket, p plus 4, you won't get the mark also. Why? Does anybody know why? How come this one not right? Why is it not right?
The 3 is in the middle.
Yes, the 3 is in the middle. Can the 3 be in the middle? It needs to be where?
Front,
Behind? Like behind here.
and front.
Yes, it needs to be in front. Why? In algebra, do I write x3 or do I write 3x? Which one do I write? x3 or 3x? We write 3x. That's why Hui Xin say we put it in front. So at the end of the day, what's the correct answer? Everybody, you all should know already. I should write as 3 bracket. Everybody, together. P minus 2, open bracket. No more 3p already. Why? Because I already take out the 3 from the 3p. Okay, it'll be p. Yes. Understand now? And with that, you get your full 3 out of 3. You all can copy everything that you see on the screen right now. Okay, now for this one, right? Also the same thing. This is how I'll group them. One term on its own and one term on its own. Now, this one looks like what? Something that we learned just now. Does anybody remember? You can use what concept?
Let the bracket a minus b squared.
It looks like a particular concept that we learned just now. It's not exactly the same, but it's the same concept.
Write out the x minus 1 3 times.
Which concept? You're close. Which concept? Hmm? Yeah, so what can I... This looks like what? The x minus 1 cube looks like what? What concept can we use? Just now we did something like that. What did I teach you guys? Anybody remember?
X squared equals to x times x.
Just now is x squared is equal to x times x. But for this case, is it x squared? So what concept can we use for this case? We know that we cannot use this, but it's similar. We can say that.
X cubed.
Yes, x cubed. What about x cubed?
X times x.
Yes, so can you see, even though I didn't teach you guys everything, but if you understand the concept, you can apply the same methodology. Got it? Okay, so let's start applying. So x minus 1 cube, what can I write it as?
Bracket x minus 1.
Mm-hmm.
Close bracket.
Uh-huh.
Open bracket x minus 1.
Uh-huh.
Close bracket. Open bracket x minus 1.
Yes. Okay, so after that, what else? What can I do with the one in blue? Anybody know? What can I do? Let's see who's able to get this right. What can I do with the one in blue? Use the red as the reference, then you know what to do with the one in blue.
Write a 1 first.
Okay, write a 1 first. Very good.
Bracket.
Open bracket.
X.
What?
X minus 1.
Why? How come? How come you say that you write x minus 1?
To make the bracket similar to the one in front.
Very good. So to make these two same. Correct? And why should you write 1? Because you want it to be in a bracketed form. Do you realize if you look at all the ones that you guys have been doing, do you realize that, like for this case here, 3y minus 3s, do you realize we put it in bracketed form? Even though these two have nothing in common, but we can use 1 as a common factor to get into a bracketed form. Clear so far? So the sign we do last, right? So Eclesiastes, tell us, what sign shall we write here? Because the sign always do last. What sign shall we do here? What sign shall we write? Negative? Okay. So in order to make sure, double confirm that I'm right, what must I do? Very good. Let's do a check back. Negative 1 times x gives me how much? Negative x. Am I correct? Negative 1 times negative 1. What does it give me? Positive or negative? Can I say 1? Positive 1. Am I correct? Yes. So I'm on the right track now. Okay? So right now, can you see there's one term here and one term here? Do they have anything in common? So whatever in common, I put in a bracket. The rest I throw inside. Correct or not? So what should I write in here?
X minus 1.
After that, next, what do I write?
Bracket X minus 1. Close bracket. Open bracket. X minus 1.
Uh-huh.
Close bracket. Minus 1.
Then what else must I take note of?
Square bracket.
Yes, the square bracket. Right? Why? Because here and here are the same. Then if these are the same, this is the rest, throw inside. This is the rest, throw inside. After that, what must I do? Anybody remember what must I do?
Rainbow method.
Okay, but I don't really need to do the rainbow method. Because why? What do y'all notice about this person?
The same.
X minus 1, x minus 1. What does it remind you of? Very good. And x minus 1 square reminds you of who?
A minus B square.
Which is the?
A square minus
I need a proper terminology, which is actually the?
identity.
Yes, algebraic identity. Which one? First, second, third. Which one? Second, algebraic identity. Okay? So for you, we will talk more in depth. So for both of you, since you all know it's the second algebraic identity, immediately tell me what's the answer. I don't even need to do rainbow. X squared, yes? Yeah.
Bracket minus 1.
Not minus 1.
Plus 1 square.
Which is?
1.
Exactly. That's all. That's for the second algebraic identity. That's why your algebraic identity must be really good, so you don't waste time doing the brackets. Okay? So from here, I can just put x minus 1, Then this person is my second algebraic identity, right? This one is actually this one here. Okay, and what does it give me?
X squared minus 2x plus 1
Then do I stop here?
minus 1.
Yes, I must remember this minus 1 here. Then what do I do now?
Simplify the
Simplify. So do you realize it's the same thing again? Simplify. Okay, so what do I have now?
square
Mm-hmm.
minus 2x plus
So do I stop here? Accretions, why? How come we say no? Why cannot stop here? So here only get 2 out of 3 marks, or rather for this case, 3 out of 4 marks. Why? Why we cannot stop here? How come? Why we cannot stop here?
There's still an x squared.
There's still an x squared? No. Why we cannot stop here? What's the reason? Why we cannot stop here? So Hui Xian, what did he just say? Why we cannot step here?
factorize.
Okay, so back to you, Accretions. Factorize out who? No, not x squared. What term do we need to factorize out? So you know that you need to factorize out the x. So guys, please listen now. So when you factorize out the x, where shall we put the x now? So at the end of the day, what's my final answer? If I need to factorize out my x. So Accretions, at the end of the day, what must I write as?
X open bracket. X minus 1
Mm-hmm.
close bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Open bracket. X minus
X minus x? No, it's not x minus x.
2.
X minus 2 then? Yes, the end. That's it. So right now you have to copy everything that you see on the screen.